The Supreme Court of India showed uncharacteristic courage last Thursday when it reiterated its decision with regard to the appointment of judges. Why do I say it's uncharacteristic? That's because in the last few months, the apex court had been at the receiving end of pointed assault by the executive, even by some persons holding high constitutional positions. The SC clearly did not want a slanging match. It did not want to stoop down to the level of ill-informed fulminations by the Vice President of India and the Law Minister of the country. It would have ill-behoved the Supreme Court had it entered into a war of words with those with a single point agenda to undermine the judiciary, which remains the last fortress to protect and defend the Constitution of India. It's in the fitness of things that the senior-most judges of the apex court chose to put down in writing last Thursday that the Supreme Court is not going to be a pushover in a tough battle, that an offensive executive will not be allowed to ride roughshod over the legitimate powers of the apex court. On Thursday, the Supreme Court Collegium sent that message loud and clear, while responding to the Government of India's reservations about some of the recommended names for judgeship of different high courts. What did the court say? The Collegium, in its note to the Government of India, mentioned the case of 3 lawyers who have been recommended for judgeship. 1, an openly gay lawyer with a Swiss partner. The government had said a foreigner as a partner is a dangerous thing. The Supreme Court said, why so? Is India at war with Switzerland? If a President of India can have a foreigner as partner for life, if a foreign minister of our country can have a life partner belonging to a different country, why can't a judge be accepted that way? In fact, we have several examples in the judiciary as well. Well, when I was working as the resident editor of the Hindustan Times Patna, I once received a very surprise call from the then Chief Justice of the Patna High Court, Ravi S. Dhawan, to meet him at his residence over a cup of tea. He wanted to discuss with me some of the issues that we were raising in the newspaper, issues especially regarding the panchayat elections in the state. Chief Justice Dhawan introduced me to his wife, Lucinda. She hailed from the United States of America. I don't think the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government then had any issue with a Chief Justice of a High Court having a US citizen as the life partner. Why should Narendra Modi government be then so over-exercised about the matter? unless its objection is about the gay relationship, about a gay partner. But then law ministry has not made gay relationship or gay partnership an issue. Is it that the concerned lawyer would have been acceptable to the government of India if he had a gay partner who was an Indian, not a Swiss? The Supreme Court has rightly dismissed the objection as frivolous. The other two objections of the government had a political bearing. What was that? The background check of one lawyer recommended for justice revealed that he had once forwarded 2 critical reports about Government of India's policies. And the other lawyer had made a couple of unpalatable mentions about our Prime Minister in his social media posts. How could such a politically aligned person be appointed as a High Court judge? The government asked. The Supreme Court Collegium made it emphatically clear. A lawyer, before being appointed a judge, has the complete freedom to express his point of view. He cannot be expected to be a mute observer if he wants to be considered for a judgeship. The court did not say so, but the fact is, if we go by government's own logic, then any lawyer who has ever praised the Prime Minister or the government policies in their social media posts, then they should not be also considered for judgeship at all. But haven't many such lawyers passed muster through this filter? Is it that the rule applies only for those who are critical of the government, that they must be kept off, but those who are solicitors of the government must be warmly welcomed? Isn't that duplicity? As a matter of fact, propriety demands that when you become a judge, when you hold that august position, then you must not make any observation which is pointedly pro-government or anti-government. You must not praise a current political leader or speak against him. But look at one Justice Arun Kumar Mishra. Do you remember him? He was a Supreme Court judge, and that man unabashedly told in a conference that Prime Minister Modi was a versatile genius, an internationally acclaimed visionary. What was Arun Mishra doing there? He was seeking to curry favor with the government. Going by the government's own logic of political persons must not be judges, this Justice Mishra should have been shown the door. But what happened? This cheerleader of the government was rewarded with the position of the chairmanship of the National Human Rights Commission. So look at this government. It has strong objection if anyone has spoken against the Prime Minister, but it's ready to embrace with open arms if anyone has showered praise on the Prime Minister. The Supreme Court of India has rightly dismissed this dubious government stance. Last Thursday, missive of the Apex Court is indeed unprecedented, because for the first time the Collegium decided to go public with its arguments to counter the government's position on the judges' appointment case. The Apex Court had earlier too responded to the government's objections, but we, the public, were not privy to them, privy to what the Collegium had said, as it was considered a classified information not open for public. Now that the stress is on transparency, the Supreme Court has gone public. The dice is clearly cast. The tough war is out in the open. This is a tough war reminiscent of the 1970s, when Indira Gandhi government tried to browbeat the judiciary into submission with a series of constitutional amendments. That time, some judges had fallen in line, had kowtowed to the executive. But many other judges courageously stood up to a rampaging political authority. It is to be seen if the Narendra Modi government will also toe the line of the Indira regime and begin similar assaults on the judiciary. And if that happens, it is to be seen how many of our judges in the High Courts and the Supreme Court would be ready to defend the Constitution of India, even if that cost them dearly in terms of their personal and professional life. Let us hope for the best.